shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 5th day of June 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful evening. We had some light showers over the night as well. Not as much as we would like, but we're certainly thankful, grateful for what we get, what the good Lord has given us. For those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a cyclist, pedestrian, operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we again urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. And again, for those of you who are out there exercising, if you're on bicycles or just walking or jogging, please wear bright clothing if possible so that you are much more visible on the roads as well. We know many drivers are extremely cautious, but there are some reckless ones out there as well. So you want to do your part to ensure your safety also. Those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days, past few weeks, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. And we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Those of you celebrating a birthday today, or if you're celebrating a birthday over the weekend, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well and say to you, whatever you do, please ensure that you do it in moderation. And I want to give a big shout out to a belated happy birthday to my good friend Roy Connolly. Some of you know him as Barefoot Roy, and when we use the term Barefoot Roy, it is not used in a derogatory manner at all. That's the way he likes to be called as well, because it is a trait that he has. And long before we had the Barefoot Man, we had Barefoot Roy. Just want you to know that as well. So Roy celebrated a birthday on Wednesday, and I want to wish him a happy belated birthday as well. Big shout outs are always going out to our frontline staff for the excellent job that they have been doing, whether they're the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, Customs and Border Control, which includes immigration, whether they're working in the health services industry, whether they're working environmental health. Those guys are out there early in the mornings, as well, doing their part, cleaning the roads, picking up your garbage. We want to give big shout outs to them. But I spoke to a friend yesterday who had a very enlightening and positive experience at the Health Services Authority when they went there for a blood test early yesterday morning. And it was an appointment that they had. And, of course, they like to get to their appointments earlier than it is scheduled. So if it's scheduled for 7:30, they like to be there between 7 and 7:15. So they were there. And surprisingly, while they were early, the staff was already there as well. And he pointed out that they were so efficient, so courteous in terms of their approach. And in less than no time, he was had his blood tests done, and he was out of there. And he had some kind words to say to them in terms of that he simply wished that every government department or section ran as smoothly and as efficiently as that particular section in relation to the blood test. And I want to say he wanted to give a big shout out to them and was extremely happy. Wednesday, I went to pick up my prescription for my eye drops. As I suffer from glaucoma, and went over to the Smith Road Center, and security guard was there. Put my solution in my hand, and he said, you can wait. Checked to see if anyone was inside, any other customer, because they're taking them one at a time. He checked. There was one in there, came back out and said, there's someone in there. As soon as they come out, you will be going in. Less than 2 minutes. I was in, showed them my cynical card. They looked at it, as little contact as possible, so she was able to look at the card without touching it, which I didn't mind at all. Didn't feel offended because I know what it was all about. And she repeated my name, date of birth, found my prescription, gave it to me. Less than 5 minutes, I was out of there as well. So again, want to give a big shout out to Health Services Authority staff for their efficiency. Now, there are people sometimes who, for whatever reason, may have a bad experience at any institution, and you shouldn't let that bad experience necessarily define the entity that you have been dealing with, or even the individual that you have been dealing with as well. Because some people will just simply condemn the whole organization because of one bad experience that they have had. And I would just simply say to you, don't necessarily do that. But for all of those out there who are on the front lines in the Cayman Islands doing your part, again, we want to thank you. We want to thank you so much for the work that you are doing. I'm trying to find one email that was sent on Wednesday, and obviously it didn't come through before the show was concluded, and I found it this morning, and that individual wanted to know, they had a question, and the question was, why our government did not make it possible for everyone to be tested with all of the test kits that we purchased, that were purchased/donated. I think it would have been the best thing to do. We would be able to move forward with more confidence. If we did not have all of the resources, equipment, specialists, wasn't it possible to have ordered more equipment and train more people or hire from overseas? I think the way we are proceeding is taking chances with having more people spread the virus. Just my thoughts. So that person spoke about the number of testing kits that we have. And yes, we do have. And the number of tests that's being done, we see where we are in terms of our rating. Over 12,000 tests have been done so far. When that compares to many of our neighbors and jurisdictions that are much larger than we are way ahead of them, in the game. We know that government at the Health Services Authority, testing is done there. We know that Doctors Hospital testing is done there, and I believe now that Health City has the ability to do testing as well. One machine that was just received, that one will be going to the BRAC. But it was quite evident the plan and the various phases that we were going through, that testing would be ramped up when we were nearing the time to allow more people into the workforce. So that is happening. That is why we're seeing the numbers increasing now, as far as the number of positives that we're getting. But when compared to the number of tests that are being done and the number of positives that are being reported, our number is extremely low, very, very low. And that testing will continue. Now, what the testing is telling us is that the virus is out there. It is out there. And that is why we still have to continue with the social, I call it physical distancing. We have to continue with the physical distancing. We have to continue with the wearing of masks. We have to continue with all of the sanitary protocols that are in place, as well as trying to reduce the number of persons that will gather at any one location. All of those things will help to make this work for us. So on yesterday, the testing update for the 4th of June 2020, Chief Medical Officer reported, Dr. John Lee reported that there were 745 COVID-19 tests, which were carried out since Wednesday. And of those 745 tests, there were 4 positive results. He pointed out that 3 of those positives were assumed to be locally acquired cases who are asymptomatic, and the virus was picked up through screening. The virus was detected through and picked up through screening, contact tracing, and now contact tracing has started as well. And he pointed out that the 4th positive case is a contact of a known positive person. So again, we see transmission from person to person through contact. That is why it is extremely important. And remember that the testing is only giving us a result, a picture in time. At that time of the test, the person either shows positive or negative. If you're negative, it doesn't mean that a week, a few days later, that you couldn't turn out to be positive. So testing is not the answer, not the only answer to combating the virus. It helps us to know what is happening in the community. It helps us to know who may have it at a given period of time, but it is not the full answer. It's not the answer to everything as far as COVID-19 is concerned. But testing tells us whether or not it is safe to allow people out because of the whether or not the virus is prevalent within our community. We know that it is there. What they're trying to measure is the extent of it. Time for us to take a break. We're going to have the Honorable Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, on with us by phone after the 8 o'clock news this morning, so I just want to let you know that as well. Meanwhile, when we return from the commercial break, our phone lines will be open for you to call if you so want to before the 8 o'clock news, which we normally have about 10 minutes to go before when we return from the commercial break before the 8 o'clock news. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Robert William Bert Foster. Bert Foster, a native of Cayman Brac, was the first college-educated and qualified teacher on the island. In 1929, he succeeded his sister as principal of the Western District Government School in Cotton Tree Bay. Many elder Brackers still remember Mr. Bert as an excellent teacher. He was strict but fair, and he instilled in the students his own standards and morals. His career at the government school was cut short by the 1932 hurricane, which destroyed the building. He lost several members of his family, including his sister and her infant son, and he was in charge of the cleanup and recovery efforts underway when their bodies were found. He taught for several years at the Creek School before undertaking training as a wireless operator. He was the first operator of the government wireless station at Stake Bay, which opened in 1936. He worked there until he married Audrey Foster in 1940 and moved to Trinidad, where he became wireless operator at the U.S. Naval Station. After the war, he served as ship's officer and master with several companies before retiring in 1968.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Even in this time of uncertainty, time of challenge, we adapt to change, making good on opportunity, clearing a path of continuity. Our children, our students, seek to further learning confined at home. Our teachers reach out and teach, furthering scholarship, their classrooms scattered far and wide, using technology, bridging distance. That's why Rotary Central joined the AlphaSoft initiative, sponsoring a first batch of 297 of the 600 laptops needed for students in need, students who would be absent from school without a laptop. $7,000 dedicated to the purchase of laptops benefiting children at John Gray High, children at Sir John A. Cumber Primary in West Bay, Rotary Central, and the AlphaSoft initiative, taking care of children who want to learn. Our children, their future, more secure. Rotary, connecting the world.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern, recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have no guests in the studio, but as I pointed out earlier, that we will have Madam Speaker, Honorable Mary Lawrence, on the phone with us after the 80 o'clock news as well. I want to share with you information in relation to the funeral service for Miss Olive Miller, and that was issued by the protocol office, the chief protocol officer, Miss Melanie Sims. And it reads, funeral service for Mrs. Olive Miller, OBE Certificate of Honor, JP, takes place this Saturday, the 6th of June, 2020. Please note that today, Friday, June 5th, all Cayman flags, only the Cayman flag, should be flown at half-mast on all government buildings and entities for those that are currently open for business and are flying flags. So this they will be flown. This is from sun up today until sundown. She also wanted to note that it is especially important to note that the half-mast position means that you leave enough space for one flag to fly above the flag that is at half-mast. So you leave enough space for one flag to fly above it. And if you were a Cub Scout or you're in the Scouts, you would know that. You would know that as well. Says lower than lower than this, which means lower than the one space for another flag to fit above it, negates this honorable display and is inadvertently a sign of disrespect. So if you put too much space between the top and the flag that is being flown at half mast, more than the space for another flag to fit, it is really a sign of disrespect. Now, unfortunately, we know that government buildings and the security at government buildings is contracted out to private security firms. Whether or not the staff at those firms are well versed and are briefed in the proper procedures, I am not sure. But we have seen photographs on social media of flags being flown upside down and all sorts of things. So when maybe all of this COVID-19 situation is over, the Miss Mel at the protocol office, between her and Byron Derek Ebanks and all of the others in the protocol office, may want to arrange some seminars or webinars or whatever for staff who are involved with the hoisting of flags in the Cayman Islands to teach them all of the proper protocols and everything as it relates to flag flying. Just a suggestion, but just want to again note that the funeral services for Miss Olive Miller will take place this Saturday, tomorrow, the 6th of June. Almost to 8 o'clock, I just want to mention something. It has come to my attention that some frontline staff, and in particular the staff of the Department of Environmental Health, mainly those persons who are out there picking up our garbage each morning, that they have not been been through the testing system for COVID-19. If I'm incorrect in that understanding, I would like someone to provide us with information and correct that. And if it is so that they haven't been tested, maybe some rationale can be given as to why they have not yet been tested as well. Curious to know. I will do some research in the meantime to see what I can find out about it as well. So, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will have a conversation with Madam Speaker, the Honorable Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
It's time to start preparing for this year's hurricane season, and Foster's has the essentials you need. Stock up on canned goods, non-perishable foods, health and first aid items, and other hurricane kit essentials. Start preparing using our 2020 Hurricane Guide with our emergency checklist, local shelters information, storm tracking, and evacuation procedures. Our guide can be found at fosters.ky, and follow Foster's Cayman on social media for tips throughout the season.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Caymanian job seekers are encouraged to register and search now for employment opportunities on Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman's new portal. Premier the Honorable Alden McLaughlin says to ensure that Caymanians are given first preference for jobs, all employers have now got to post the job vacancies on that portal.
All job applications have to be posted on the of the portal, but that has been set up by work. So everyone can go directly to that, so they can go there and see what jobs are actually available, because all employers are mandatorily required to advertise there. Obviously, they're free to advertise in the local media as well, or overseas, as has been the case before. But you will be able to see exactly what the jobs are there, and all of these things will continue to be considered, shall I say, with even greater scrutiny now in the particular times that we are in.
The job portal was launched with the aim to help Caymanians find jobs and employers the labor that they need to keep Cayman globally competitive. Premier says that we don't want to see people on island not having jobs and whose services or skills are not absolutely required.
And we don't want people here doing jobs for which Caymanians are willing, able, and qualified to do.
The website is jobscayman.worc.gov.ky. Resilience Cayman has launched a youth internship program connecting Caymanian students seeking work experience with businesses in need of support as the local economy reopens. Radio Cayman's Dion Englund reports.
The Resilience Cayman organizer said the new program was aligned with Resilience Cayman's mission to build social and economic resilience in the Cayman Islands, even in the midst of a crisis. Ms. Jan Gupta said as the economy begins to reopen, they believe this program will offer meaningful work experiences for local students and help them afford their education while also supporting businesses after the COVID-19 shutdown. Resilience Cayman is a community initiative supported by the Chamber of Commerce, formed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The initiative is focused on a broad range of assistance programs with its aim to create food security, strengthen the local economy, and support the self-empowerment of Cayman society. Students will be placed with local businesses or with Resilience Cayman for full-time or part-time work. Within Resilience, interns will work in teams to support its 4 community initiatives: food support, financial coaching, wellness program, and Farm Direct. The program is open to all Caymanian students over the age of 18 from any full-time or part-time educational program who may be facing financial hardship in continuing their education. The application deadline is June 15th, 2020. Spaces are limited. All student interns will receive an educational grant of $600 upon completing the program. In addition, though a partnership with the International College of the Cayman Islands, any current ICCI students taking part in the program will be able to earn course credits for their participation. The youth internship program will run from July 1st through September 15th, 2020, and those interested in taking part are asked to complete the application form available on www.resilience.ky under the Youth Internship Program. Interested ICCI students should reach out to their advisor to learn more. Local businesses interested in participating in the Youth Internship Program should register at www.resilience.ky under the Youth Internship Program. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. An Australian court has banned a Black Lives Matter march in Sydney because of coronavirus restrictions. The Supreme Court in New South Wales said the event could not go ahead after the police applied to have it stopped. Demonstrations are still planned in other Australian cities. France says it succeeded in getting the coronavirus pandemic under control. The government's top scientific advisor said the virus was still in circulation in some regions, but at much slower rates. Official figures showed the number of new cases went down from 80,000 a day in early March to 1,000. But there's still a risk of another outbreak, and the advice is to follow the strategy of testing, tracing and isolating even more strictly than before. Libya's UN-backed government says its forces have entered the town of Tahuna in what would be another hugely significant advance if confirmed. Tahuna was the last stronghold of the warlord General Khalifa Haftar in the west, and it was key to his now failed attempt to capture the nearby capital, Tripoli. Kenya has banned all single-use plastics, such as water bottles and straws, from national parks, beaches, forests and other protected areas. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from Cayman Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
Fishing is permitted between the hours of 5:15 a.m. and 7 p.m. through Saturday, 6th June. Starting Sunday, 7th June, the restriction on the use of boats for fishing will be relaxed in Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac and will permit fishing between the hours of 4:45 a.m. and 9 p.m. each day of the week, including Sunday, but no more than 6 persons may be on a boat. In Cayman Brac, boats may also be used for leisure during these times, but inter-island travel by boat is not permitted. No fishing, no boating or congregating is being permitted at Stingray City, Starfish Point, Rum Point or the Sandbar. This means that a person may not anchor any boat, exercise on the beach, fish or swim or carry out any activities in any of those areas. This restriction does not impact beachside residents exercising at those locations.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Ultimately, taking action is the surest way to achieve results.
As motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, I believe life is constantly testing us for our level of commitment, and life's greatest rewards are reserved for those who demonstrate a never-ending commitment to act until they achieve. This level of resolve can move mountains, but it must be constant and consistent. As simplistic as this may sound, it is still the common denominator separating those who live their dreams from those who live in regret.
Change your thinking. Change your life. These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit OnCourse to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. Barometric pressure 29.93 inches and rising. The wind is southeast at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate fresh southeasterly winds and rough seas are expected across the Cayman Islands, along with isolated showers over the next 24 hours. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the islands, which continue to move towards the northwest. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, continues to issue advisories on Tropical Depression Cristobal, which at last check was located 80 miles southeast of Campeche, Mexico. The system poses no threat to the Cayman Islands. For further information on the system, please visit the National Hurricane Center website at www.nhc.noaa.gov. Now the forecast for today and tonight for the Cayman Islands, calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s today and will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be southeast at 20 to 25 knots and seas will be rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet. Small craft warning is in effect for today and tonight as well. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 8:39, low tide this afternoon at 3:18, and a high tide again tonight at 12 minutes past 10. The sun will set this evening at 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning. Let's take a look at traffic. Coming from the east, moderate flow of traffic on Shamrock Road. Traffic is steady but flowing on the Linford Pearson Highway as well as on Crew Road. Light traffic coming from the West Bay four-way stop. And traffic flowing pretty good on Edward Street and Shedden Road, and light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive. As we look to the West Bay Road, traffic is moderate in both directions, especially in front of the Ritz, and a moderate flow of traffic on North Sound Road. That's the very latest on your traffic. Another report will be at about 10 minutes after 12. Have a good morning. Buckle up.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal. And never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up to date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Helping children cope during this pandemic is important. Remember, dealing with the outbreak calmly provides your child with the best support. Lead by example and take care of your needs too. To support your child, listen and acknowledge their fears and questions. Provide clear information and be aware of your own reactions. Help children by creating new routines, limiting their exposure to media, and encouraging them to talk about what they've seen and heard. For free and confidential support, call the Mental Health Helpline weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-534-MIND. That's 1-800-534-6463.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio, but we have connected with Madam Speaker by phone, and we're going to have her on as long as she possibly can stay on. No specific topic. I want to talk a little bit about everything. First of all, I want to say good morning, Madam Speaker. Welcome to For the Record. Trust that you and your family are doing well in the age of COVID-19.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. Yes, we are very grateful and thankful for all the blessings on my several generations. And in fact, I have another great-grandchild coming in October, so life is beginning to look even better.
Oh, well, great. Congrats.
Yes. I did call you or text you right before we began the news break to say that we need to know what time Mrs. Miller's funeral is. I don't know if you can check with protocol or someone, because it's being streamed, I understand, and it's going to be on CIGTV, but we do need to know what time.
Okay, yeah, because the release that was sent out didn't give a time, but we'll try to find that out for you, definitely.
Yes, I think for the listening public, there's a lot of people who will want to follow that on the social media or news break, whatever they put it on.
Certainly, we'll do. We'll certainly do.
And of course, while I'm on that subject, I would like to add my sympathy publicly to the family of Mrs. Miller. She and I enjoyed a very special relationship. We came to Cayman about the same time.
Okay.
And was a little girl and she was a grown-up lady. But somehow or other, all through the years, we managed to maintain a friendship that was, I think, certainly very productive in my life, because we shared a lot of similar interests, and we always had similar topics to talk about. And of course, the fact that she was a government information officer cemented that relationship early in my career in journalism. So it was, she's had quite an influence on my life all around, and I'm sure everybody else is, because she touched, all of the, and I've said this on social media, but all of the various organizations that have been remembering her and talking about her contribution to their organizations, I think who will remember her best over the years to come are those individuals whose lives she touched. The lives of the children, of the teenagers, the lives of the adults, the lives of the elderly. Mrs. Miller touched a whole range of lives, and she touched them in a positive way with a smile. And she always gave you the impression that it was you she saw. She didn't see a whole crowd of people. She saw you. When she spoke about the children at Nadine Andre's place, she would talk about them individually. She knew them by name. She knew their families. She knew their difficulties. She knew the child. She knew the person. And I think that made a big difference in our contribution to our society. And a lot of people contribute to Cayman, but they don't really know Caymanians. They don't really know our people. And she was one of those persons that came here, and from day one she jumped in with both feet and stayed in the fray with all of us. So I really appreciated her contribution here. And I know her family will miss her. That's a given. But so will all the rest of us. And now to you, Mr. Connor. I don't know what you have on your mind this morning. I'm always curious, because I know that your mind kind of goes around and you keep picking like a little hands on a clock. You keep picking up this piece and this piece and this piece and throwing it out. I don't know what you're going to throw out this morning. But
well, first of all, I'd like you to talk about your experiences during this COVID-19 pandemic, and how you're functioning, able to survive during what you are doing. I know you never like to talk about what you do for others, but there are so many people out there who are needy, and I know that you're involved in organizations, or you personally, do things. And I'd like you to talk about that at first, and then we can talk about the government's handling of it, how things are going. We're seeing now that things are being relaxed. I just saw on one of the UK newspapers that British Airways is now going to mount a court challenge to the government on their decision to require 14-day quarantine for persons who travel to the UK. Of course, now people are going to start to challenge more and more what the government is doing, because their bottom lines have been affected so much by it. And as they start to come out of that comfort zone now, they're going to want to for so many things to come back to normal. So things like that we can talk about as well.
All right. Well, as far as my personal experience goes, I guess everybody knows I live by myself, so I'm quite happy with myself. And I try to say to several people who have asked me, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely, because there is so many things that I find to do, and what I miss, of course, is the interaction with people. I try to reach out to as many people as possible in the community that need help. But that's just something I've always done. That's not something that started with COVID-19, although maybe I've added a few people to it that I felt were sort of left out of everything. But I have my days to go out, and I stick to that. I can go out on the days when my initial comes up. I can do my business on those days. I'm not fond of using online services, so I try to, as much as possible, to go where I'm supposed to be, to pay a bill or whatever. And I interact with people on the phone, persons on the phone. I interact with my own family. I guess, as you know, most of my family are not here. And so one of the things that I really miss, is the ability to jump on Cayman Airways this morning if I feel like doing it, and going to Tampa, and starting out from there on the family circuit, and then running back a couple of weeks later. I miss that. Like I told Jan, she says, "Oh, Mom, you can come. We'll meet you in Miami." I said, "Yes, and the premier will meet me in Cayman." That's not happening. Not now. It's not happening. But I think we need to be very grateful for the position we're in. And this, like Mrs. Miller's funeral, I know hundreds of us would love to go to that tomorrow, and we won't be able to. That's part of our new normal for now, anyway. But and I miss that kind of thing. I miss interacting with the families who are in grief, except via telephone, which is not very. To me, you want the personal touch if you can possibly put it forward.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have to understand, and I listen to all of I never miss the press briefings. I call them my what they call it? You say the soap opera.
Okay.
That's my soap opera time. And I never,
days of our lives.
Yeah, I never miss them because I want to have the information for myself.
Sure.
I always feel that if they're taking the time to come out there to give the information, then we should take the time to listen to what they have to say, and get it straight from the horse's mouth, as the old people used to say. But I also think that you mentioned the business with British Airways. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits. There's going to be a lot of that from the big corporations and the big entities who've dominated the world up until this point. The individual has and was something that bothered me about what was happening here in Cayman. The view of the individual was being lost. You saw groups. You saw almost like a blur the faces of people, and this COVID-19 has brought us face to face with the fact that individuals matter. Whether it's an older person or a child or a frontline person or the person you mentioned, the garbage collection people, no matter who it is, all of a sudden you are very aware of the fact that individuals matter. And it doesn't matter what section of the society you come from. And the duty of a government is to protect all individuals. I know we have the big thing with we've lost one leg of our economy, at least temporarily misplaced it, I hope. But that's not the end of the world. What is important is that we have not followed any caskets to the cemetery. In fact, we wouldn't even be able to. We'd have to do it online. But we have our people. We are alive. We have life, and as long as you have life, there is hope and there's promise. That's always been my feeling about it.
Yes.
I know it's difficult for some people. It's difficult for parents who, at home, coping with a job and coping with children at the same time. But, that was a given in Cayman years ago, too. I worked. I had children, lots of them. But you found a way around it. You found a way to deal with all of it. And we have, right now, I think we need to emphasize to people that this is the first leg of a very long journey. The fact that we have managed to walk this far and walk this safely is a blessing and a credit as well to the people who are managing the health services, who are managing the government. It is a credit to them. But it is also a blessing to us that we have not had our families broken. We have not had to deal with grief on a large scale in this community. And I think that we also need to remember now that we have to walk this path very, very carefully. It is not something that you can, when you turn the page over, and it's going to be, and we're going to be able to go right on as though nothing had happened. It's not going to happen. This community has to, it's a good time for us to grow up. Let's put it like that. I know that comes from the fact that I'm getting old, of course, and you always think about growing up. I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished growing up yet. But, it's the thought, the idea that out there are problems. We have a lot of problems, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them this morning that I see up front, because we are, somehow or other, we are getting wrapped up in, can we have meals delivered? Can we go to the beauty salon? I even got a ponytail. Can we go? I laugh every time I see the premier and he's talking about his hair. But the little we've got buried up in these little things that all of a sudden loom so big in our vision. When in truth, in fact, there's so many other things out there that we need to deal with and we have to cope with. Going back to work is, and I'm hoping people will do, the business world will do what the Premier is asking, and that is allow people to work from home as much as possible and as long as possible.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I'm going to interrupt you there. We're going to take a commercial break. Just stay on the phone. We're going to take this commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue with the Honorable Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. So please stay tuned.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
It's important for older people to focus on maintaining healthy habits during isolation to avoid negativity. Here's how Northsider John Edward Ebanks has been remaining positive during this difficult time.
Stay home and follow protocol is a plus for your well-being and others as well. Take care of yourself, relax as much as you can, learn to fight the boredom, keeping in touch with others and family members and friends. Always look for the positive in life and know who to call when you need help.
If you or someone you know needs assistance, call the Older Persons Helpline at 1-800-534-2222 today for free and confidential support. This message was brought to you by the Department of Children and Family Services.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. 534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. On the line we have with us the Honorable Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of our Legislative Assembly. Before I go back to her, I just want to point out that the message that I read in relation to the Cayman Islands flag being flown at half-mast, that was basically the intent of that message, to talk about the half-mast. And the funeral was mentioned there, but not in full, because the major part of that message had to do with the flag flying. So the protocol office has pointed out to us now that the funeral for the late Miss Olive Miller is at 3 p.m., right, at the Emsley United Memorial Church. It will be broadcast via YouTube and on Cayman Islands Government TV as well. And due to the COVID-19 shelter-in-place regulations, there's a limit on attendees. So Radio Cayman will also be carrying it live. You can also watch it on the Emsley Church YouTube as well. Okay, just want to make sure. It says here, Radio Cayman YouTube channel as well as Emsley Church YouTube also. That's from Miss P. Miss P pointed out to us. So Emsley may have a YouTube channel as well. I believe, a lot of churches are going to that now based on the fact that they don't have church services, live church services as well. So YouTube is going to be at 3 p.m., limited number of attendees because of the regulations, but you certainly will be able to follow it. CI Government YouTube also, like I said, will carry it. Radio Cayman will be carrying it by broadcasting it as well. So many ways for you to be able to participate and to observe as well. So, Madam Speaker, back to you. You mentioned work at home, and maybe that's one of the areas that we can focus on a little bit in your conversation now in relation to work at home. What was interesting, I read an article, I think it was a court in Switzerland, that there was a ruling that persons working from home should be paid additional monies because of the fact that they're using their for expenses, electricity, and things of that nature. That's quite curious. But COVID-19 now has also shown us in the Cayman Islands that many work functions can be performed in the home as well, and we will need to focus. Businesses should be focusing more on that. But the whole attitude seems to be, and the Premier spoke about this early in the press briefings, that the pressure that he was under from the business community, in particular law firms, to open up and to allow them to be able to open up as quickly as possible. That pressure is still there because there are persons still who are hell-bent on putting profits and making money ahead of persons' lives and their safety. Any comments on those?
Yes. For a long time, I have held that, even with our traffic problem, I have held that working from home was something we needed to explore. I felt that government needed to lead the way because a lot of their services can be done not only in the home but in the districts, that would relieve some of the pressure on the offices in town as well as the traffic on the road. But when it comes to what people want from us. It always gets to me that people feel that they can use what we have. They can use our people. They can use our services to their advantage with no regard for the effect it has on the rest of the community. And that bothers me because, and I maintain this, when you come here, I don't care who you are or where you come from, how wealthy you are or how poor you are, the gardener in the yard or the CEO at the top. You come to my home. This is my home as a guest. And you need to remember while you're here that there are rules in my home that I expect you to abide by. I don't expect you to come here and turn my life upside down because you have been granted the privilege of living in my house. And that, like I said, I don't care who it is or where you come from. I don't care what your status is here. You can have Cayman status, you can have residence, you can be on a work permit, you can whatever, you can be here. I don't care how long. The fact of the matter is that for too long, we have gone along with this little story, this little propaganda story, and that's what I call it, that, well, you see, why we have to bring people in is because Caymanians don't want to work. And I know that is not true. You only have to look at that little thing every end of the year when the government decides they're going to clean up the roadsides, and women and men and young people and everybody get out there because they need $10 an hour. You're not telling me that you can't find people to make beds or clean your office or whatever it is that you need done here in this country. You can. But if it's easier for you to bring someone in, then you go ahead and you do that role, because then they're pretty much obligated to you, and basically they're your servants. That's a word that people don't want you to use, but it is a word that we need to remember. That is the position you're in when you come here. And I have gone over and over and over this in my mind. I've talked to a lot of people now who are working from home, and they say, Miss Mary, I have been so much more productive since I've been home. I don't have the pressure of getting up in the morning, flying around, trying to get my children to school by 7 o'clock, trying to get myself to Georgetown in time to walk into my office on time. The whole stress of life has been mitigated with working from home. I know they got pressures. They have children at home they got to cope with now. They have lessons they have to work with, all of that. But the fact of the matter is that people are finding it a lot easier and a lot less stressful to work from home and to be more productive in the process. And I think that this is something that we should explore in this community. I have, my son is a computer expert of the highest order. He works from home. He's worked from home for years. My grandson does the same thing. He works for Price Waterhouse from home. He always has. The fact of the matter is there are things that you can do from home. And there is no reason, and I agree, we're running into this thing. People are saying, well, when they're home, they're using more electricity because they got to keep their air condition going all day. And I hear that my children are eating me out of house at home because I'm home all day. Those are things that have become a part of this new normal that we're in. But at the same time, it is not. Now that we've found out that it can work, there is no reason why we should not make a serious attempt to incorporate it into the work life of this community. And I think it is time for us to really give serious consideration to this, whether it's government or whether it's the private sector. And as far as the law firms are concerned, let me tell you something. My daughter, who is now a teacher in one of the worst districts in the United States, school districts, was a lawyer in this island for 12 years. And after the Ivan hurricane, she had to, because all the other lawyers had gone about their merry business, she had to take a quilt to her office at night and put her twin girls on the floor to sleep while she coped with overseas offices, the work from the overseas offices.
Wow.
That's not where we need to be now. That's not where we need to be now. The financial industry is important. The law firms are important. All the other services that are allied to that, they're important, yes. But people are important. The most important attribute in this entire community is its people.
Yep.
And that is what we have to concentrate on. Saving lives is still, and it's not that many of us. You know, that's an advantage we have had in this whole pandemic, that there has not been, we don't have 100,000 people.
Yes.
We don't have 200,000 people. We don't have 1 million people. We got, 65,000 now, probably, since some have left. That number of people to deal with, to cope with. But it takes every one of us, and this is what people are failing to understand. It takes every one of us to move this country forward. Not just to next month, but tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, because this is a journey we're walking one day at a time.
Madam Speaker, we're going to take a commercial break. Just hang in there. Ms. Susan, do we have a caller as well? We have a caller also, so we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to take that caller, and you stay right on the line there, Madam Speaker. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
The Wharf Restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tarpon feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at The Wharf.
The deadline has been extended for displaced Caymanian tourism employees to register with the Ministry of District Administration. To register with the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport to Sunday, 7th June at 11:59 p.m. To complete the online registration form and upload the required proof of Caymanian citizenship document, visit tourismregistration.ourcayman.ky.
COVID has turned life upside down for just about everyone by curtailing a lot of our daily activities and restricting older people's activities significantly. It's vital for our seniors to remain physically and mentally active. Here's how Loxley Banks of West Bay is keeping busy and engaged during isolation.
I've been asked, at age 82, how are you coping with self-isolation? In simple Cayman Islands language, I keep my nose above water and paddle on. In other words, staying occupied. To keep my spirits up, I commune with my Heavenly Father, pray for guidance, give thanks, and help others. Communicate with family and friends. Look forward to renewing my beach time with 7 mangoes and having a good mess of turtle meat and cornbread, and doing what gives me joy.
If you or someone you know needs assistance, call the Older Persons Helpline at 1-800-534-2222 today for free and confidential support. This message was brought to you by the Department of Children and Family Services.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have on the line with us the Honourable Mayor Lawrence, former Speaker of our Legislative Assembly. We have one caller as well, so we're going to go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. I would just like to say a big good morning to Madam Speaker and to you as host of program.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank Madam Speaker this morning, especially for her mountains and her hills and mountains of wisdom and self-assuredness and confidences.
Yes.
Thanks very much, ma'am, for your analogy and the principle of guests having been welcomed to our homes and our ranks. And I didn't hear one hateful word there. But thank you very much. It did wonders for my heart and my spirit, and I'm hoping that the rest of us will get the message. Thank you very much, ma'am. Good to hear from you.
Good. Thank you very much for those kind words. I also want to while I'm talking about the people who are here, though, and everybody calls it a shout-out, but I really want to commend the people in our community who stepped forward to lend a hand to cope with the problems that they were here before, but they have become enormous since COVID-19 stepped on our shores.
Yes.
And I have to say thank you to them. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you, Madam Speaker. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to say a big thank you to them for all the help that they're giving and all the many services that they're putting in place.
I think so.
And, you know, I have to thank the supermarkets for the effort that they have made to keep people safe in their premises. You know, I know when they started out, there were people who said, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not going to go in there if I have to wear a mask. Well, if you're going to eat, you're going to go in there, and if you're going to go in there, you're going to wear a mask. That is what it has come down to, you know. But there's so many people have stepped up. I heard you mention this morning the health services and their way that they have managed to step up to deal with the fact that people have, you know, they have to pick up their prescriptions now, and they have to pick it up at a different place and at odd times and all the rest of it, but they're managing to cope, you know. And I think these people deserve a tremendous amount of credit because they have had to change the way they deliver services, you know, and this has in many cases it has been a costly exercise, but at the same time they have done it because it was necessary to do it. We are in this thing together.
Yes.
You know, and all of us have to be moving forward together if we are going to beat it back. It's as simple as that. And you know, I heard Mr. Loxley's contribution just now on the radio, and you know, I walk every morning a couple of miles. I didn't get to do it this morning because I didn't want to miss your program. But I did get some time in my garden. I put in 2-3 hours a day in my garden in the mornings, and it's, you know, there is. I don't have children to cope with, and sometimes, you know, I really miss that in my life. Really miss not having to fix meals for little ones and all of that. But there are other things that I can do. And I think this is something that COVID-19 has done for us. It has made us all soul search. We had become stuck in a little groove where when you ask somebody, so how are you today? I don't know. And if you asked it, you had to be prepared to listen 15 minutes of complaints and 15 minutes of what was wrong with them and all the rest of it. People have had to renegotiate their whole lifestyle. And I think I saw where one of my little younger friends from the States had posted that the world was resetting itself. Mm-hmm. And I think Cayman is resetting itself. And we have to make sure that we don't lose what we are gaining in this COVID-19 pandemic. Because there are gains for us. It's not all negative. There are gains for us. And it has given us a time to pause and look at ourselves and maybe renegotiate our whole lifestyle and what we want to do and where we want to go.
Okay, Madam Speaker, the caller has just rejoined us. I think we may have gotten disconnected somehow. Caller, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Good morning. No, I didn't get disconnected. In my head,
okay.
In my head, I am watching my dollars, even though you're toll free. But yeah, I'm calling back because I can't miss an opportunity to say big up, high five and everything to the greedy people. I gotta get that in. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So, Madam Speaker, we're almost, I think we're about 2 minutes away from the 9 o'clock head news. I want to mention something, and then we can pick up on it when we return. As a Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, you have always had to balance the right of the opposition with the rights of the government, and to be fair when it comes to both sides, to have, so you had to have that balanced approach. What would you say to those civil libertarians out there who seem to want to challenge the government's decision, or how and sometimes how the decisions were made in relation to hard curfew and various things, and those who portend, who look towards the future and say, well, if you allow the government to do this now, we don't know what will happen in the future, and we'd like to get your view on that, whether or not we find ourselves in a dangerous place because the government is in a position to tell us that we have to stay home, to tell us when we can go out and shop, to tell us that we can't go to our places of worship, only a certain number of people can be there, tell us how we are allowed to bury and to mourn our dead as well. What do we say to those persons who think that we're in a dangerous place if it isn't controlled, and if we're not careful what we allow the government to do, because they may see that as something that they can do in the future as well. So we're going to go to headline news at 9 o'clock, and when we return, Madam Speaker, we're going to ask you to respond to that. For those callers who are interested in calling in, our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can call us on that number, 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp us on 925-3261 as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Economics and Statistics Office has announced that its annual economic performance surveys are now underway. The business surveys, consisting of the System of National Accounts and the Balance of Payments survey, started on May 25th and will end on July 17th. Several videos of police brutality have emerged during protests over the death of African-American George Floyd. In Buffalo, New York State, 2 officers were suspended after they were seen shoving an elderly white man to the ground. And in New York City, police were captured on video roughly handling demonstrators as they ran away. The reports come hours after a memorial for Floyd in Minneapolis, the city where he died in the hands of police. And another senior former military officer has denounced U.S. President Donald Trump's threats to use troops to suppress ongoing protests in the U.S. The ex-Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Martin Dempsey told National Public Radio that Mr. Trump's remarks were, quote, very troubling and dangerous. On Monday, the president threatened to deploy the military to, quote, quickly solve the unrest if states failed to act. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have on the line with us the Honorable Mayor Lawrence, former Speaker of our Legislative Assembly. Madam Speaker, I know I threw a lot at you there before we went to our headline news, but again, the whole idea of us being in a dangerous position because the government, through regulations and through laws, have been able to limit some of the liberties that we have, despite our Constitution and what our Constitution says, and also we have to bear in mind also that our Constitution points out that some of the freedoms that we have, they're not necessarily all absolute as well.
This word freedom has been, I can call, misused and abused. I guess, long before I ever entered the House, that was my final hurrah. I was an activist in the Cayman community going back to 1968 when I took the stage for the first time. Mm-hmm. Always pushing the idea that the people have certain rights, the people have the rights of the people, and all of the things that we're talking about now. But we always refer to Cayman as the good ship Cayman. And everybody knows that when you're in a storm, the crew, the captain and those who head the crew behave differently. You have to batten down the hatches because you're going to get swept overboard. You've got to tie yourself to the wheel. You've got to do all of the things to secure that ship because you want to bring her into safe harbor. That's what I consider we have been doing. Now, if anyone wants to think that it's, they should be able to go where they want and do what they please, there has to be order in what we do. We have to have respect for the next person, not just our wants and our needs and our desires. I would love to be able, like I said, to walk to that airport, go or drive to that airport, park my car, and get on a flight and go to the United States to see my children. I would love to be able to do that. But I know it is not possible at this time. I know the time will come when I will be able to do it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because I believe that we live in a country where no matter how many regulations and how many things we move to deal with this pandemic, we can reset the clock again. We have an election coming up next year. The House paroles in March. The election is in May. So if you're not happy with the way things are being done, you can get out there and do something about it then. But the fact of the matter is, for now, for this time and this space, this is what we have to do. And we're not doing it because you want to keep Mary Lawrence, who's 80 years old, safe in her house. You're doing it because we have 6,000 to 5,000 people in this island who has to be protected. And if it means they have to be protected from other people in the society, then it has to be done. I sat in that legislative assembly through what I consider to be and I know Cayman history as good and better than most people because I've lived it.
You certainly do, yep.
For the most tumultuous years in the Cayman Islands. When I walked into that house, we had just had a referendum that gave us a new constitution and a new form of government. And everything in those next 4 years had to be changed and had to be moved and had to be adjusted to work with that constitution. And then to deal with all the other things. We had an opposition then. The government of the day, the PPM, who had sat in government for the time before that, period before that, was now sitting in bloc on the opposition bench. And they were in opposition from the day they raised their hands. In fact, probably before that, because they didn't know about it then. But, and the opposition was, they were vociferous, they were rabid, they were all the things that they were disappointed, they were upset that they had been replaced, they were angry, and everything they thought they could do better. It was all there. But from the very beginning I said, the opposition has a say and the government has its way. That is the way a country in a democracy works. There are times when the opposition will be able to, the government will accept what the opposition is saying. And the government should, if the opposition is being reasonable, it is the government's duty to listen. Because their role is more than holding on to their seats for the next 4 years. Their role is to do the business of the people. And this is something that all 19 of our legislators need to be reminded of. They are there to do the business of the people. And there are many times when things are going to have to be done that we don't all agree with, and we can protest them. We have an opportunity to protest them. But at this particular time, I cannot see where not being able to go to the restaurant you want to go to or to the hairdresser you want to go to is as important as not having to go to a funeral. I can't see the reasoning behind that. Nobody's taken, nobody's taken any freedoms from me, I can get in my car and I can drive out there and I can go where I want to go. But should I do that? As a responsible citizen of this community, should I do that? The freedom only comes with responsibility.
Yes.
A country cannot be free. I don't know what the term "free" to be mean, but a country cannot enjoy the tenets of liberty and freedom without the sacrifice that comes to bring it about. And we need to remind ourselves of that. There are a lot of people who have worked hard to build this country and bring it to where it is. And and I know because I've been on your show. And I've taken the Premier down when I felt he needed to be taken down. And I've taken his government down when I felt they needed to be taken down because I have the right to speak out. But at the same time, it is my duty as a good citizen of this community to support him when I feel he's doing what should be done in the situation that we're in right now.
Okay. Question now, Madam Speaker. Moving forward, when we're seeing more and more businesses starting to open up, we know that a number of work permit holders have left the jurisdiction. We saw, I think, the Jamaica flight that left yesterday, some 70-something persons left on that, and I believe there may still be a list going. So there's no doubt that we're going to lose a portion of our workforce in the Cayman Islands, despite the fact that it would be the off season as far as tourism is concerned. Do you have a view on the way forward, the approach that should be taken to ensure that Caymanians who are unemployed, and the Premier has said that is going to be one of the primary objectives, is to ensure that every Caymanian who wants to and has the ability to work will be able to do so. Do you have any views on how do we move forward with that? You spoke about the fact that we now have the opportunity to recalibrate. Those are my words, recalibrate. Now, how do we go about doing that? But before I get you to answer that, we have a caller, so we're going to take the caller first, and that caller may have some questions for you as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to Miss Marilyn.
Good morning, sir.
I'd like to share something with you all.
Sure.
Yeah, one day, the Premier said to himself, he said, boy, I gotta have to hire somebody to take on all these worries. So, he hired one man, and the man said to him one day, he said, well, Premier, the Premier said, I'll pay you $200,000 a year to take on all my worries. So one day the man was working, and the man said to the Premier, he said, well, sir, how you gonna pay me that kind of money, that more money than what you making? The Premier looked at the man and he said, that's for you to worry about.
And the moral of the story, Madam Speaker?
I presume he means that we're going to have to worry about what the Premier is doing later. But, like I said, I have taken the Premier on. I took him on the matter of the schools. I take him on the matter of the dock. Everybody knows my views. I am very outspoken. When I have to say something, I say it, and my name is out there with it. Mm-hmm. But there comes a time when we have to do things a little differently.
Yes.
I would like to be able to go to church. I would like to be able to go to Miss Olive's funeral tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to do that. But what am I setting myself up for? As far as I know, I don't have COVID-19, but there would be people in a big crowd who might have it. Mm-hmm. And it's not just that me getting it. Like I said, I have had a very full life. I'm not concerned that much about what happens after that. But I am concerned about the fact that I mingle with other people who will get that too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm responsible for that. I could not think of anything that would be worse than knowing that I was responsible for passing that on to someone who was vulnerable to it, whether it was a child or an older person or a family member or a friend or whatever. There are many things, and that we are having to deal with at the same time. We're having to deal with all the people who want something different. We're having to deal with the fact that there is only so far we can go at any one day, and people don't like to walk slow. But I drove through and I'm going to say this now, I drove through a development recently. And you know what struck me? It was afternoon time, and there were young couples. There were couples walking, the baby in the carriage, the little ones holding on to somebody's hand. And I thought it had been such a long time since I'd seen Caymanians out doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in the mornings, and it is amazing how many people are walking and running on Buddentown streets.
Yes.
And down in the development in the back of Buddentown. All of a sudden, it has not, before they would go to a gym. And yet we have this great outdoors that we can do all of these things in. And, we got locked in. Like I said, we had locked ourselves in to this little, I call it prison, where we did this and this and this and this, and the children had to do this and this and this because somebody else's child was doing this and this and this. And we just went on and on and on, and we got caught up in that whole flow. And now we have to, like I said, we have to reset. We have to do things differently. And we have to understand it has to be done differently. The one thing I'm going to take umbrage with, the Premier has said that Caymanians should have the first choice on a job. But there are a lot of our people who cannot access social media and follow it to find out where they go to register for this job or where these jobs are being registered.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is something that it bothers me because they can't navigate it. They don't even have the technology at home to navigate it with. So there needs to be some help offered in the community where you can go to an office and you can ask them to help you find this website. It would be a very simple service to put in place, and a high school student can do because they know all about technology. But where you can go and say, I need a job. I understand they have a website where the jobs are listed. Can you help me find it? Can you help me scroll through it? This is what I'm looking for.
Okay. We're going to take a commercial break now, Madam Speaker. When we return, I have a WhatsApp message that someone has sent as well, and I will share that with you. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank,
Good morning, folks. We had a little technical problem there with our commercial. We'll get that back to you, our computers, shortly, but we're still able to function on this end other than the commercial. So one of our listeners has written and said, and they've corrected me, says, Mr. Connor, we are not losing our workforce. We have lots of Caymanians here without work. So we have a local workforce here without work, and don't even mention all the other imported people here without work, but don't want to leave because they have told me that being here in this expensive island without work is far better than being back home. How interesting, how interesting. Very interesting, with that, Madam Speaker. Now, I also heard a conversation the other day, and we know that the local drivers, those that drive tour buses, or they may own tour operations as well, don't have any work at this moment, and suggestions are being made. And I think the Ministry and Department of Tourism are looking into it to see how these persons can be transitioned into other jobs as well. And one of the suggestions, and I'd like to put a little balance on this because I'm all, no doubt for Caymanians being employed. But one suggestion was that a lot of the stores, hardware and otherwise, who have delivery trucks and drivers, that those jobs could be given to the tour operators, those drivers who are not able to function now. And that may be a good suggestion, but it also has to take into account the issues that the employer may have as well. And one question that arises in my mind is, okay, if we give those bus drivers, those jobs, a Caymanian employer, a company decides to hire them, but when the tourism industry is up and running again, then these people are going to go back to their normal jobs where they probably will make much more money, leaves the employer then in a lurch where it's going to take them time to get a work permit or to replace that same worker that they have given that opportunity to. So there has to be a balance in all of this. People can make suggestions. Either they're considered suggestions or they may be off the cuff, but at the same time, we have to look at all the various aspects and the nuances that may be involved when these suggestions are made as well. We have 2 callers. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, and good morning to the knowledgeable Madam Speaker. I often hear her on the radio, especially when she got, like, Dr. McField, who's there backing her up. Because she don't pull no punches. I wish I had her for about 8 years as premier. I know I would be able to run to her, tell her what I want done, and I would get it done.
Yep.
You know? Good morning to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Also, just to elaborate a little more on that voice, that note I just sent you about the labor.
Yes.
Like you also elaborated a little bit just now by saying that the premier said they might have the people that are doing other jobs might have now to adjust into other jobs. So that means we have people here.
Mm-hmm.
We have people here that are no longer in the job they used to be, so we can spin them around and put them in the jobs that are now available. We don't have to be bringing in no one else or people coming back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to quickly say, what do you think about us punishing or getting to the people who refuse to take their nationals back? I think going forward, we should face them out. When their permit is up, don't renew them. Let's deal with the people who took their people back.
Mm-hmm. But then at the same time,
with us.
Yeah, but we would be punishing those individuals for the sins of their political leaders. Would that be fair?
Well, election. You're the one who put them there. You're the one who put them there to lead you.
Good point.
And what about the individuals that are here that are saying that us Caymanians are holding them ransom? Don't want them to go home because we want them to be here when our construction open up. That's the word on the street, you know. Do you know that?
Wow.
Oh, okay. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you know, I always talk about this. Hazard management.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the corona. We're in the virus era here now.
Yes.
And
hurricane season.
Hurricane season popping up. And hurricane season started before hurricane season started. Remember, we had something off Cape Canaveral, something up there not too long ago before June even came along. Now we have something real early. Normally, in this section of the atmosphere, we only get hurricane up like around August, September, October, like that. But
later in the season, yes, yeah.
Right. So, and I heard on BBC this morning that we're expecting at least 10 major storms.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was watching this documentary where all the boats in the Bahamas area are trying now to get permission to go up to Maine or somewhere up in that area, up out of the hurricane.
To shelter, yeah.
To shelter. But now because of quarantine, they really can't move. Nobody will accept them, right? So suppose that we was to get a hurricane coming down on us with and still into the corona, how we going to do that social distancing like I hear people normally make reference to?
Well, I think some of that has been addressed in the press briefing, and they will have to certainly make adjustments for that, because I don't think that we have any facility that will allow for the type of social distancing that is necessary. So they're asking people to bring your own material, make sure that you have your own masks and things of that nature. And they no doubt have acknowledged that it will be a challenge, but it is something that they're working on.
Working on now?
Yeah.
Oh, see, can you tell me where the hurricane shelter is in Bordentown?
Well, the one that was intended to be one isn't completed.
They condemned that.
Yeah.
They condemned that as a hurricane shelter because of the last hurricane. Yeah. So where's the hurricane shelter for the Bordentown, which is the fastest growing district on the island? what we got to do with all those people? What we got to do in Georgetown? I don't think West Vegas, etc., or anything like that either.
Yeah.
And God forbid, but our friend live in Most Sunny, but in the Cango East End, that could be reserved for our people.
Yeah.
You got to.
It will be a challenge. It will be.
Madam Speaker, I can come up there. she have a sister that lived there all her life. So she's accepted. We know her well. So I think that might be a challenge. That might be a challenge because all we need is not a direct hit, but something just to disrupt the way people are living now, which not too good. For everybody to have to leave their home to go and look for higher ground.
Yep.
You know, so I think that we really have to look at that going forward.
Definitely. Lord Graham, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. We're going to try to grab another caller before we go to the commercial break. But good suggestion. But keep on that thing about the hurricane plan. What do we have in place? Because unless we bring this COVID-19 under control in the Cayman Islands, it's going to really be a challenge if we have a major hurricane and we have to shelter people. Next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Conan. Good morning, Miss Mary.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm pleased to hear a stalwart on air this morning. Two stalwarts. You know that he's always there manning the phones and everything and holding up the fort. But it's wonderful to hear Miss Mary this morning. I have two concerns. My concern is with us having to wear a mask. It's mandatory for us to wear masks out when we're in enclosed buildings and all that kind of stuff. But I'm puzzled as to why no one on the panel are wearing any mask. I don't see anybody with any mask on. The prayer mayor don't have one on. The governor don't wear none. The doctors don't have one. No, they're enclosed. I know they're not outside, you know. So I don't understand why it's mandatory for us to wear these masks, and we know they're not safe. You know, and especially I see people riding their bicycles on the road. I see people locked up in their cars with the mask on, just them one. And I wonder if it's a style or what.
Yeah.
If they're not thinking about their health or whatever. Anyway, that's one of my points. And again, the family life thing. I don't know. Then they mentioned that the tracks were going to be opened. We went. One of my sisters and I. We decided we were going on the track, but the track was closed. So we ended up walking around and going Walker's Road and coming back up around Family Life Center. And it just seems so eerie around there. And I noticed that there's a container, like the ones that you see in the pictures and in the broadcast and stuff from New York. There's like a freezer out front, and then when you get to the back, there's this concrete slab-looking thing with a roof and no doors. I guess if there's a door, it's facing the building. And there's one of those buildings that they used in the schools back in the day after the hurricane.
Yes.
Or they needed extra classrooms. There's one in the back as well. So I'm wondering, why are those there? And also, why did we have to bring in all these doctors from Cuba?
Well, we haven't brought any doctors in from Cuba. That was medical personnel from Cuba. In the event that we needed, if the virus got out of hand and we didn't have sufficient expertise here, that they wanted to have that avenue open. But the Minister for Health has pointed out that need is no longer there.
Okay, that's wonderful news because it got me really worried.
Yes.
Anyways, I just wanted to say we need to thank God that nothing happened. We didn't lose any lives and all that kind of stuff, and that we need to just keep praying and thanking God, and we need to bring God more into what we do and in our daily lives, and we need to repent so our land can be healed.
Yes.
That's my 2 cents for the day. God bless the Cayman Islands, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, and all the best to you as well. And when we return from this commercial break, I'm going to ask Madam Speaker to talk a little bit about the mask wearing, the instructions that are out there in relation to the wearing of masks, but some people seem to feel comfortable even when they're in a vehicle by themselves wearing it also. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Essential workers, we salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS community police officer and community safety officer in your areas. Officers will be visiting homes in all districts over the next few weeks, and a limited supply of both disposable and reusable masks will also be available at supermarkets. Remember, you are required to wear a mask when indoors in any public place and when using public transportation. Continue to maintain a minimum of 6-foot distance at all times from persons who do not live in your own household, and wash hands frequently. Stay safe, Cayman.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Dear parents and guardians, we deeply care about our students and understand the challenges you may now face during these unprecedented times.
We want you to know that we are committed to ensuring that your child's education continues.
And that you are not alone. We are doing everything we can to make sure no child is left behind.
But to do so, we need your help to get connected and stay connected with you and your child. So reach out to us and speak with us
about how we can best support you and your needs. Working hand in hand with you is the only way to secure our children's future.
We are in this together.
A message from the Creek and Spot Bay, East End, Prospect, Red Bay, and Sir John A. Cumber schools.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore,
Members of the public are reminded that the new curfew period will run nightly, 8 p.m. until 4:30 a.m. through Saturday, 6 June 2020. Adjustments will be made for the hard curfew period from Sunday, 7th June 2020 through Monday, 22nd June 2020. The curfew period will be from 10 p.m. until 4:30 a.m. daily. The new imposition of curfew order relates to Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac only. During this period of curfew, only exempted essential services personnel may be on the road, outside, and away from their residence. Social distancing requirements apply, and persons should not congregate in groups of more than 2 through Saturday, 6 June.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. On the line we have with us the Honorable Mayor Lawrence, former Speaker of our Legislative Assembly. Madam Speaker, we had several things thrown at us during those calls. One had to do with the mandatory wearing of masks. And I would say that masks, along with social distancing and the sanitizing process, are essential in the fight against COVID. 19. Now, the proper use of masks, as well as the best type of mask to be used, are questionable. And whether I know that the government has put out information there. There's information in terms of the proper use of masks, those that have been given out by members of the Legislative Assembly and others. Some come with instructions as well. Any comments on that?
Well, there was a question on it on the press briefing, and which it was stated that you don't need to wear the mask in the car. Number one, you're breathing back in carbon dioxide.
Yes.
And it is one of the difficulties that people who have to wear them continuously have. People who are in the healthcare industry and all the rest of it. But it is important to wear it in, I think, because it's so much easier to spread the COVID-19 in enclosed spaces like the supermarkets and the banks and all the other places that we go to inside. I think those are important. Now I see a stream of every day now a stream of young men walk by my house and going out to the main road and back again, and it always amazes me that they wear their mask. They got their music in the air and they wear their mask. And I think to myself, while so many people are protesting having to wear them for in supermarkets and all the rest of it, here are these young people that we don't even look at, we don't see, we don't credit. We're doing what they are supposed to do. And there was also the question of running with one, and the Minister for Health said that that was not necessary because again, you're breathing heavily into the mask and you're inhaling it back.
Yes.
So and you can't because people were complaining of being faint when they do this. I think that beyond the guidelines that have been distributed, we need to use common sense too. I don't use a mask in my house. There is no reason for me to use a mask in my house. There's no reason for me to use a mask in my garden. But if I'm going to go somewhere, I take my mask with me and I put it on because I know that is one of the safety requirements. I carry my alcohol and my hand sanitizer in my car at all times. And although when you go to places like the supermarket, it is available there, I never depend on their brand. I take my own.
What about the press briefings? Person pointed out that they're not wearing them at the press briefings, and the physical distancing may not be as is being recommended and suggested to others.
Well, I presume that the three people sitting behind the desk, because remember before 4 were sitting there, Dr. Lee sat with them. I presume that when they moved him out, they have the required distance between the three persons who were seated there.
I always listen on radio. I never watch it. So.
Oh, well, I watch it. And they come, and then when Dr. Lee, the press comes in by Zoom, and Dr. Lee and anyone else who's there comes to the podium that is away from the panel on bench.
Right.
That is sitting there, right? So I presume that they have checked all of this out to make sure that there's social distancing inside the building, wherever they're doing the program from. I'm not sure that they are meeting the requirements that they're setting out for the people on the outside. That's my take on that. I might be wrong, but I know that they tell you that they come into the building with their mask.
Now, one of our listeners has pointed out that they note that the Jamaica flight that left only had 70-odd passengers. I think might have been 77, somewhere around there. And that it was also pointed out that we have over 11,000 work permit holders from Jamaica on the island. And their question was, do we really need those 11,000 work permit holders? That is a question really only employers or prospective employers can answer, I believe, in that regard. I think what is important to note with the flights that were leaving is that Jamaica had certain protocols in place. There was a website that you had to go on. You had to register in terms of your request to be able to travel to Jamaica. That request was processed. You would then receive a reply, or the airlines would be told, yes, you can carry this individual. That's all being handled through the honorary consulate here in Cayman. So despite the fact that only 70-something went, does not mean that it's only 70-something that wanted to go. We don't know what the numbers are otherwise. Well, but I would also venture to say that with the economy starting to open up, and like one of our listeners wrote into us and said that even with the high cost of living in other jurisdictions in the Cayman Islands, they much prefer to be here than to be in other countries as well.
Well, I'm sure that is true because before we shut the door, there were flights leaving. Multiple flights were leaving to take people out that wanted to leave. And the Jamaica flights, from my understanding from Jamaicans themselves, were flying almost empty because they really had no intention of going home. And the fact that we have 11,000 on work permits, there's a question of what kind of work permits. Are they in the tourism industry? If they're in the tourism industry, then the work permit is not valid anywhere else. You know, these are things that immigration needs to look after and deal with. I'm not saying that there are people who, if your employer has a work permit for you and it's a valid work permit, then you have and he has a job for you now, then you have a right to be here to work. But other than that, I think anyone else needs to consider moving on, because tourism is not going to open up here in any hurry. We have and that's something else. I listened to Minister McTaggart on the air, giving what I consider the doldrum side of the financial situation in the country and how bad it can get and what their provisions are going to be going forward to deal with the fallout if it gets worse and all the rest of it. I listened to all of that. But I am concerned that the Minister for Tourism has not been there. You see, my feeling on tourism is this. Cayman is a preferred destination. Any day we open that door, we are not going to have to worry about people coming here. They are going to come plane load after plane load after plane load, because Cayman is a preferred destination. And particularly in view of the fact that we have been so carefully guarding the country against COVID-19, I am sure we will have an influx of people any day we open the door. The thing is, how are we going to manage that influx? We have to decide what we want to do and how we're going to handle it. And I think the people need to know. You see, this is one thing that a press briefing has done. People are knowing up front. They're hearing from the powers that be what the situation is and how they're managing it. But we have not heard from tourism and on what I consider, I'd like to see, I know they say about they'll quarantine them, but we can fly them from Cayman Brac to that airport, get the police to drive them to that site where they're doing that press briefing, let them say their little piece, let the police take them back and put them on the plane and take them to the Brac. If they don't want them to touch us Caymanians, that's the way to do it. But the Minister for Tourism and the Minister for Education are not just Cayman Brac representatives. They have ministerial positions, two of the most important ministerial positions in this country, and they need to be on this island. That's my feeling, where they can put out what they have to do. We're in a quandary right now with education. Nobody's saying anything about education. The minister came in one time on Zoom, and she had some prepared questions, and she answered the prepared questions. That's not what people want. Right now, we're in a position where students don't know if they're going to get scholarships. They don't know if they're going to get their scholarships, the ones that are on scholarships now, if the scholarships are going to be granted for the next school year. You know, parents need time to prepare. Every student who leaves this island to go abroad to study has to have supplemental income. The parents have to borrow. Sometimes they borrow against their house. Sometimes, whatever they have, little piece of land, whatever it is, they have to get that extra amount of money to put their children through school, through university. And that takes time to negotiate. You can't wait till the last minute. The universities, a lot of the universities in the States are changing their timetables. They are starting early and they're finishing the first semester the week of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And they're breaking for 2 months just in case they get that spike of COVID-19 during the heavy winter.
That's correct, yes.
Right? So our parents need to know these things up front. They need to know if when our children go back to school, how are they going to manage them? After the Ivan hurricane, when we didn't have, so many of our classrooms were destroyed, they had classes in the morning for one group. We ran a double shift. Classes in the afternoon for another group. Are we going to Are we going to have to do that this time to ensure that social distance is
right? The size of the classrooms, yeah.
Yeah. Or are we going to try to crowd them all into the same space? You can't put 25 and 35 children in a classroom now with the desk cheek and jowl with COVID-19 around, especially now that we know that it is the children in the island have been subjected to it.
Yes.
You know, and especially when we listen and we understand that children, while they might only have symptoms, the aftermath of that virus in their body can give them very serious health problems. So somebody needs to come and say to the public, say to the parents, this is a big problem for parents. They're going back to work, and we're talking about freeing up it's 5,000, I think it is, the Premier said, caregivers to go back to the homes. But it's more than that. Parents need to know how they are going to they deal with their children. This is a big part of their stress. They have to know, are they going to go back to school? And this thing about they probably lost a year. They haven't lost a year. The children have been doing online classes, and I'm going to tell you something. These children probably get more done at home than they were in the classroom because they were very distracted in the classroom by all their little friends. So they're probably getting more done at home. But I don't think they have lost on the ground academically. But how are we going to go forward when we're telling parents they have to go back to work?
Yep.
How are we going to go forward? How are we going to deal with parents who are asking, what about the university college? I haven't seen any word from them as to how they're going to manage their classes. You know, are they falling under the education umbrella and subjected to wait to hear what the education minister and department has to say? Somebody needs to start talking. And it doesn't mean, you see, and this is when I said that the ship, we talked about the good ship Cayman, it doesn't mean that we're off the high seas, but it means that we are looking ahead and deciding that, well, that sea mightn't be as big as the next one, let's ride it out.
Yep.
You know, we have to start. We can't just open businesses because that is not the be-all and the end-all of Caymanian life. It has to be, how do we deal with the family? And you know something? That is something that we have not done in the Cayman community. From the days when we had aunties and grannies and uncles and cousins and whatever else taking care of the children at home, the older ones, from that day on, the women in the Cayman Islands has had two jobs. They had the one they went to in their office, and they had the one when they went home.
Okay, Madam Speaker, we have two callers that we're going to try to accommodate before the end of the show. And also I want to share with you some of the WhatsApp messages. One person pointed out that what is happening, the majority of Jamaicans don't feel safe to go back home. And it is so sad, not even some of their to see some of their families, because they feel that the measures that we have taken here in the Cayman Islands are much more robust, and they feel much safer here based on the measures that we have taken than the measures that have been taken in Jamaica. There seems to be a rush to reopen everything, especially the tourism industry in Jamaica as well. Another person commented about the situation with the Minister for Tourism. They pointed out that I believe on two occasions the minister has been on press briefings, one along with the Minister for Education as well. But as far as his physical presence in Grand Cayman, they have pointed out to the medical situation with his wife, and it is possible that she may be in that very susceptible category, and as a result of that, being in Grand Cayman at this point in time, may be more dangerous than being in Cayman Brac, where we know that the infection rate is much lower. Let's go to the phone lines. 2 callers, very short period of time left, so we're going to ask you to be as brief as possible. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I have a question. Just want to just quickly follow up on what Ms. Lawrence was saying.
Sure.
About the education department getting prepared to accept students after COVID. I myself was wondering, if they're taking this time out to really think about what this step is going to be, because I know you can't follow everything you see in the media, but you see other countries, and I said, maybe I think it's either China or Japan, they're making all these different measures, for allowing students to actually kind of isolate from each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if the education department was taking this time out to do that as well. Another question I have is concerning, you have people here who are living in rental properties, they're not working, and you have landlords who actually depend on the income from those houses that they rent out to survive. And while you have people that don't want to leave, them living in those rental apartments and running up the AC, run up the bill, don't have no means by which to pay, is also something that needs to be looked in. So I don't know if anybody can tell me what steps should be taken in that regard, and what role did you see government playing in trying to solve this problem?
Okay, good points. We'll try hopefully to address them before the show is over. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and also a very pleasant good morning to my darling Miss Mary Lawrence.
Good morning.
Enjoying the program very much.
Thank you.
OC, do you know the capacity of a full plane from Cayman Airways that would have been traveling to Jamaica? What would be the normal capacity of a full plane load?
Depends on the aircraft. Probably somewhere around about 150 odd passengers. I believe 150, 180, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's pretty disturbing to know that we only had a first flight leave with 70-something, and with the large work permit load that was just said.
But you heard what I said, that the protocols, you can't just get on a flight and go to Jamaica. You had to register to go on to their site that they have, register your, put in your request to be able to, they had to process it and then advise the consulate here and advise you as to whether or not you have been approved to go on that flight. It's controlled by the Jamaican government.
Yeah, but remember, first going up, we had heard it was up as much as for 2 plane loads. Now, my other part of this question is being said, yes, I listened to also the backup of what some other one just said, that they feel safer here because, yes, the precautions of what we're taking here. Sadly, I believe they have a larger amount because Jamaica, is a very large country, and with people believing in bush medicine but living in the areas where they don't really go and they don't have health care and all that kind of stuff. So I believe all of that. But my other part of the question is, I also think a lot who wanted to go were people that were more in the senior category ages, but they were expecting that it was being funded by the government, by our government, like sending people just on an airlift on the plane to go like that. So that is another thing. And their country did not want to assist them, not even in quarantine expense and all that. Now, our country can't sit down and bleed this for, if it's 5 years or 2 years that this COVID-19 is going to be around, because that is what is going to happen and happen to us badly. Because when it comes on survival, I know for a fact that the food banks that we are having here and whatnot, they're getting the majority of the share. Because I know people that are working on it, the same people are going to everyone. If it's 10 of them out there, they're all getting assistance, and then whatever the government is giving. Now, I would like to have been able to hear that that plane had left to capacity, but that there's more on the horizon to go. Now, I had asked you before, did you ever get to check on that? Remember the government had put a amnesty out for anybody who had overstayed or was here illegally or whatnot to leave. Do you know if that was ever done, and what was the
they did put out a report in terms of the numbers of persons who did leave. But caller, while we understand the sentiments of Caymanians and all of the other things, what we do not want to do is to make this COVID-19 pandemic us and them situation. We do not want to do that. I would caution all of us about doing that.
We're humans and we all are brothers keepers, so everybody got to look at it in that way. Mm-hmm. But then again, we want to start, our new norm going to be that we have to try to push the issue that our young people will look at tourism as a big market for them to get into and get them jobs that are available. Mm-hmm. It's easy to learn housekeeping, laundry department, and every other areas because money is made in those areas. So that is my only piece for today. God bless you both. And Miss Mary, you doing the right job up there. Hang in there, darling.
Okay. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. Madam Speaker, I'm going to come right to you for some closing comments. Just want to share with our listening audience and that caller as well that someone has advised us that the capacity of the aircraft, 122 passengers, but with the social distancing requirements and everything else, 77 seem to be a number that would be able to accommodate on one flight. Madam Speaker, 3 minutes left. I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments, and I want to say thank you very much for making yourself available and making this such an interesting show this morning as well.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. It has been my privilege and pleasure to be on here this morning. As far as us coping with all the many different things, the fallout from COVID-19, it is a daily thing. It is a daily. As we move back into opening up little by little, we're going to find little gaps that we have to do something about, problems that we hadn't even thought about. When it comes to the people leaving the island, we have to decide how we're going to manage that. What is going to happen to people who are here, who don't have a job? They have a work permit, but they don't have a job. How do we manage that? There are a lot of questions that government has to deal with. And at the same time, they have to, I appreciate very much the press briefings because the people are hearing firsthand what they're doing. They might not be doing all the things we want them to do, but we need to remind them, too, of all the things we want to do.
Yes.
And the question about the Cayman, the tourism minister and his wife being one of the high-risk people, why don't they say that? Why don't they just say, listen, the minister for tourism has to stay in the back because his wife is a high-risk person. These are the comments that he's making. Bring him in here. Okay, they Zoom and everything else. Bring him in here to talk to the people. Where are we going with tourism? They can put it down on paper. They're going to say they have a plan, a 3-year plan or whatever it is, but that's not what we have to deal with now. Is what happens when the end of August comes and we decide to open the door in September. How are we going to manage it? What are the protocols that are being put in place to deal with it? Which ones of the hotels are going to be open to take people who are coming in here? And like I said, there is going to be an onslaught of people because Cayman is a preferred destination. It has always been. And people are going to come.
And if we have a safe country for them to come to, that's even going to make it more attractive.
We become even more attractive at that point. So I don't think we're going to have any problem redeeming the tourism industry. I don't think we're going to have any problem doing that at all. The question is, how are we going to manage it so we don't get out of control in this country and our people pay a higher price?
Okay, Madam Speaker.
So I support. I believe in freedom. I believe in people saying what they have to say. I believe in the opportunity for us to speak out. Like I'm speaking out this morning. I don't have a problem speaking out, but I do believe that at the same time we must remember that it is not just about us.
Yes.
It's about all of us.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
And thank you very much for having me on this.
You have a great day, a great weekend. Please stay safe as well. Folks, I just want to remind you that on Monday, God's willing, on the show we'll be talking about the Cayman Islands Business Development Center. So we will be talking with representatives from there, and we will also receive an update on the pensions as well. That was one of the questions I also had for Madam Speaker for her position on pensions, but didn't get an opportunity to do that.
I'd have loved that one.
Well, you can bear it in mind. You may want to call in on Monday in regards to that as well. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them, whether they're Caymanian or not. Lend a helping hand to them, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want, or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. The press briefing will be today as well. If you have any questions that you want, you can send them in to Radio Cayman, and Radio Cayman representative there may get an opportunity to ask you a question if it hasn't been asked by someone else, before that as well. But we want you to participate. We want you to air your concerns, as well. And like I said, on Monday, we will be talking about the Cayman Islands Business Development Center, and there will be an update on pension. So, folks, please stay safe. Have a great weekend. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species